And gentlemen, hello and welcome back again for game number 4. It took us a while to get that right when we were doing our outro last time, but it is indeed going to be game number 4 of Virtus.pro facing off against FlyToMoon. What is perhaps to me one of like the best translation type of things ever, where it's just like fly to moon. You know, it just it's very simple. It sounds like somebody from Ukraine trying to, sing "Fly Me to the Moon" by the wonderful Frank Sinatra. How you doing, Mo?
Yeah, I'm doing well. In my head, I was just playing bingo banning, wondering which heroes VP were going to take out after FlyToMoon absolutely demolished them last game.
Mm.
And General Mars is the one that has been selected, it seems.
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously, in game number 2, it didn't look quite as amazing as it did in that last one, but he had a really good performance. I think it's just good to take him off the heroes he's comfortable on. FlyToMoon are going to take the Nyx Assassin for themselves. I want to go back real quickly to the like translation thing. I don't know about you, but it's one of my favorite parts of esports is like seeing people from different like countries and different backgrounds all kind of get together and enjoy esports, which is why it's so funny to me when there's like little weird translation things. So for instance, when we were in getting the game going, I was switching over the scenes and I hadn't updated the score yet. So if you see, on the splash screen real quickly, it shows the score. So at the end of the game, when I switch back over to that, it goes and it's like the old score for a second. And somebody typed into Twitch chat, the score is stale, which tells me that person typed in their native language, the score is the old score, or whatever it was, and then plugged it into Google Translate, and it found the word stale as a synonym for old, which it warms my heart. I love that. It's so cool. I don't know why, but it's very I don't know. It's good.
I really wish I could speak more languages. It's such an awesome thing. I tried to do French when I was 16, and I was absolutely dreadful at it. So, maybe I've just not got it in me. I am trying, but it's difficult life.
You're English though, right? Like that's how it's supposed to go.
Oh yeah, we're not supposed to learn any languages because apparently everybody else learns English anyway. So we're just arrogant. That's all.
I know a little bit of Spanish. I'm not the best, but there was one time where I was in Spain, and I was actually on the border between Gibraltar and southern Spain. And I had to have like a 20-minute long conversation with a border patrol person in Spanish. And I got through it. I did okay. There were a lot of hand signals. There were a lot of broken syntax and stuff, but it was great. It was wonderful.
Oh, I just like playing charades basically, charades, instead of actually trying to speak the language, because that's a lot more fun.
That's fair.
Just trying to work out what each other's saying. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to get serious now, Lyrical.
Tell me.
It's game 4. Okay, we have a Centaur Rubik opening from VP, which is, I think it was a couple of patches ago, whatever the big one was. It was the most picked duo, I think, of heroes together. It's such a strong opening to a draft. You have lots of wave clear. It gives you good lockdown as well. It's like a really strong laning combo as well. Lots of kill potential. FlyToMoon say, well, we're just going to go with Undying again as our hero that can just run around and try and hit the Centaur instead. So yeah, I don't mind this. Also, Nyx gets let through again. So we get to see FlyToMoon on it this time.
Particularly good Nyx game against the Centaur, being able to set up with like the Vendetta strike and Spike Carapace to make sure you get the stun off.
10 seconds
we've pretty much exclusively, it feels like, been seeing Nyx Assassin's position 4. With the Undying in tow, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing it bumped up to like a 3. Because then, like right now, it just sort of feels a little bit strange where you're going to end up with like probably 3 melee strength heroes, or not 3 melee strength heroes, but 3 melee heroes out of FlyToMoon's opening. And already having like a big AoE stun with like Hoof Stomp and then Rubik stuff. Like if they get one other sort of instant disable, it could be quite difficult for them.
I don't think his general plays things like Necro and Ench and stuff as well, so they could pick up some range here. I think the only way you play Nyx 3 is if you have some really greedy 4 that like takes over the map and like takes the farm that you can't on the Nyx. Because the problem is, if you're playing Nyx position 3 and you're showing in lanes and taking farm on the map, it means the other team don't have to be worried about you being in Vendetta all the time, like with the gank potential and stuff. So you need a hero that on the 4 role could then like take over that role, and it allows the Nyx to kind of like move across the map and make space then. I just think what Nyx does as a 3 is exactly what he can do as a 4 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you tend to not give him the farm priority that he would as a 3.
I just like the Meteor Hammer build a lot, which is the only other benefit that you would get from it, which probably isn't worth it. So yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. As VP gonna take for their next pick, the Lich. All right, haven't seen a lot of him recently.
I think he's still okay. Like, he's not anywhere near as popular as he used to be. Like, remember when it was Disruptor and Lich being first picked or banned like all the time? That was so horrendous. I hated that patch. But yeah, I mean, he's still around at the moment.
Do you like the come to lane with 7 mangoes and just make somebody's life hell?
Oh, that's me in solo queue. I just pick Disruptor, 6 mangoes, come to lane. I'm like, hey guys, this is my lane now.
I do it in turbo mode because you can keep ferrying yourself out mangoes. Even if you lose, you win. You know, it's just. But
that doesn't work because then they can just ferry out salves really quickly.
I know, but if they're buying salves the entire time, like that's pretty great. You know, I like it. It's fine.
A horrible person, Lyrical.
I know.
People are just trying to enjoy themselves.
I had it in this game. We don't need to go too far into this as the PL is going to get picked, but there was a Monkey King and I just kept spamming him with Lich and I kept spamming Q. And finally he was just like, okay. And then put a period. And then he proceeded to like leave the lane. I didn't see him for a while. And he came back with like a billion things and killed me. But PL taken. Interesting choice. Does get kind of pummeled by the harass that is likely to come out with either of those heroes, whether it's Rubik or Centaur.
I think they just want to wait to give General a decent lane matchup opponent because they understand that he's really important to their team, I assume. So they've just picked their PL as like, well, it looks like a decent PL game so far. They haven't got any like real good way of dealing with illusions.
Do you think
Lesh has been banned out by VP as well? So that's like one of the big PL counts.
Do you think that there was any chance that it was VP that wanted to pick the PL, considering that Lesh was banned out?
Yes, I think possibly, because it's really good against Tombstone as well. Because the thing is, now you look at it for VP and you're like, well, we need a hero that deals with PL. And in my head, I think of like Lesh and Ember. Lesh is banned out, and they have a Nyx on FlyToMoon as well, which is like super good against Ember. So now you're kind of like having to go back for a different hero that's still like pseudo okay against PL in the Gyrocopter. And again, we talked about in game 1 of this series that it is Kuma's comfort hero, it feels like a lot of the time.
Right.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think VP were kind of like half setting up for it themselves as well. It's like a potential pick.
The Gyrocopter makes a lot of sense. It like fits all of those same needs that you were talking about. But it does kind of have some other weird weaknesses as well. Playing it into the Nyx Assassin, for instance, at least until the BKB, is going to be kind of annoying. Hypothetically, you could pick up like, Blade Mail. I think we saw Blade Mail in that Undying last game and it looked really good. I secretly think that the Undying was the glue that was holding that draft together last game for FlyToMoon. And if they somehow manage to win this one, I'm going to anticipate an Undying ban out, because it felt like that was a hero that allowed them to like change up the lanes. He's enough of a bully there that a dual lane becomes a lost lane and a tri lane becomes a lost lane. So you kind of have to just sort of dodge and hope that you can come out of it okay. But that being said, the Lich shield with Gyrocopter on and running in lane is terrifying.
Yeah, I think it looks like a decent Nyx game in general though as well, not just against the Gyrocopter. Like the Carapace is really good against the Lich and the Rubik. It's like there's going to be loads of things just flying around through the fight, right? So Carapace just looks super value here. And Gyro is also one of these heroes that doesn't like having his mana burnt. Like this hero likes to build a lot of stats early on, like the Wraith bands, maybe the drums as well. So if they can ever get some like decent mana burns off into the Gyrocopter, he needs his spells to be effective in the early engagements.
Right.
Especially.
And I think that speaks to the possibility that this was a deny pick on that PL. Like it felt like that was definitely what VP wanted to run for there. And now you're kind of in this awkward position where FlyToMoon sort of have what they need. And granted, you're going to have a couple of picks to try and like, deal with this PL, but it's less than it used to be, right? Because I guess not necessarily less than it used to be. There's still the same number of bans, but still it's fine. It looks like it will be okay.
It kind of, Gyrocopter got changed as well with the way flat cannon works. So like you can kind of sometimes get 2 flat cannons off in a fight now because it has a 20-second cooldown. I'm pretty sure that's right. So against the PO, I think it's a little bit better at least. And it is still this hero that allows VP, you know, you can put it mid, you can put it safe lane, because no one has played it in the past. And they have put Kuman mid before to allow Gyro to, and no one's played mid lane Gyro. Like, they've done all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And it's a hero that allows them to play this tempo lineup that they want to. Like, they have the Centaur Gyro, both coming online at similar times. And they look like they have a much stronger laning stage already this time than game 3. So I imagine if they can get that advantage and, you know, get decent BKB timing on the Gyro, they will just push their lead like they have before.
Okay. Well, and speaking of BKBs, a hero that's great to build it against, Kunkka, you know, obviously up until that point where they get BKBs, he's going to be a menace for this Virtus.pro lineup. The matchup against Gyrocopter, though, if they did want to make that swap, is not that great. You can kind of get out CS pretty hard by a Kunkka.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm just wondering which one of them goes mid, and then like it's super good Kunkka pick because they lack a little bit of catch, and this X mark's going to be really nice for them because it gives them a little bit more team fight with the exorcism, which is nice. Like it makes their lanes a lot more sturdy as well because they have the flexibility with where they can put their cores. I don't mind this, and it's a hero that, like DP, if they put the DP with the Nyx, they can just lane together relatively okay.
Well,
this Razor pick's super good though.
They're taking Iceberg Kunkka right now. They picked it instantly, so I mean, maybe he's just feeling like this is a good enough pick for it. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that no matter what, too, you still get the bonus damage on your Tidebringer cleave, even if you're getting a lot of damage drained out. I could be wrong about that. But you still get the bonus damage, but I think that it counts in towards the total at the end. So you might still be able to do okay. I guess he starts boot first. I have no idea.
It's just he can also just go to the jungle as well. Like it doesn't matter if he has a rough time in lane. Yeah. I've seen this matchup a few times before, and obviously the Razor should win. But I've seen no one play Kunkka against the Razor before and absolutely destroy him. So you know this matchup should be really interesting to see because we've talked about how well Iceberg can do in laning stage. You know, it's probably the best part of his game, I would say. So it'd be interesting to see how he plays it. This general DP is something that I want to look at though as well. I feel like. When I've seen offlane DP in the past, it's been okay, but it's never been like a bigger wow factor to me. So I'm hoping General can prove me wrong here and show me how it's supposed to be done.
Well, keep in mind, this is still the team that played the Death Prophet position 5, and they won that game. Granted, it wasn't against a team that's as good as Virtus.pro, as they are looking to try and close out this Parimatch Season 2 Grand Finals. See if they can claim that $50,000 share of the prize pool. Online leagues are back and in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. That's all happening right now in front of your eyes. So we'll see.
I mean, there are so many leagues coming up now, which is really nice to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, Dota 2 in general was, you know, most of the work that I do, especially, is all online. So, like, I always thought it was going to carry on, but the way that people have come about so quickly to organize things is really nice to see.
Yeah.
So just to keep us all entertained.
Exactly. Entertainment is important during these very frustrating times. I always talk about like sort of a well of emotional energy that people have. And when you drain that well, you got to fill it back up afterwards. And one of the best ways to do it is just doing something you love, like watching Dota. Speaking of Dota, always want to flies run in here. And Solo's just like, oh, I'm on this side of the tree. See ya. All right, now the K. He's got the punches. Resolution coming from the backside. Got the hoof stomp.
No one. Yeah.
Oh, they were so ready. Always want to die. It's how it happens sometimes. Does he go down? Who they give the kill to? Zayats take it. Yes. Claim your glory. For all the 5 positions out there, or 4 positions.
All right, Lyrical. I've got a rule that you can always use You can only use always want to die once a series in a cast. Okay, so you've used it up now. All right.
The horn hadn't even sounded though. What are you talking about? Oh. All right, so this is the thing. No one, they spotted him on this ward, so they don't anticipate that he's going to be over there. All right, he was thinking that he was going around the other direction. Dude, no one tried to talk crap. No one tried to talk crap right there. Yeah,
dude, this is so good.
Yeah, this is really quite good for him. All right, so TP out. He didn't even use the static link. Wow. So the double tip, they're not showing on any of the other lanes, which means he couldn't draw the aggro back either. Yeah, like he was in position to do it, but nobody was showing on any lanes. So he couldn't pull the aggro back the other direction. He did manage to break the link at the very least, but it's not going to go good. And since he didn't go Tidebringer, wow. That's really unfortunate. He skilled Tidebringer first, and now can't really lane.
He tried to save his Undying before, didn't he? But
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with this lane is now, like, I've seen that happen a few times before where people skip the first wave mid. Because obviously in the side lanes, it got changed so that you couldn't cut the first wave anymore. But in the mid lane, it's still the same as it used to be.
Right.
Where you could draw the aggro off the wave. And I've seen some mid players, I know Thompson likes to do this a lot on Ember matchups that he really hates as well, where he just pulls the wave all the way around to his tier 1 at the start and just messes with the creep equilibrium. So, yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him this time, but I mean, it was a nice play.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you were talking about of, like, no one is the type of player that has had to do that so many times that he knows this is the only way you can play this matchup. If I stop it, I win the lane. And he is doing just that. Unfortunately, for Kunkka, not Radiant side, so he doesn't have that easy access to the medium camp after cutting through some trees. And does have Tidebringer now leveled up, so if he needs to, he can use that for an extra little bit of damage.
Yeah, the good thing about the Dire Kunkka, though, is that you have those 2 camps that you can farm really easily together next to the mid lane, which is quite nice. So if you stack those up, you do, get a decent amount of gold quickly.
Okay. Speaking of stacking, getting a stack off there while simultaneously having a nice little pull for themselves. V2 needs to be careful about the clap. It's coming in a second. There it is. Takes the damage. Unfortunate. And ooh, almost got that denied.
I'm just so intensely watching this mid matchup. I cannot tell you.
How's it going?
I mean, Iceberg's doing better than I thought he would.
Okay. Is he missing?
But, I mean, no one's winning, but like, even so.
Oh, is he gonna try and take this medium camp himself?
Yeah.
This is kind of cool. I like this. There's a ward here, so they see this happening the entire time. If he wanted to, he could run over and just queue it. He's thinking
gonna
about
take
it.
the XP, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. But a nice little thing to do there, since the wave was pushing into tower range anyways.
And he gets mug golems as well. This is very nice. Cleave through those little golems.
Cool. Heads back over towards the mid, and he can keep doing this now. It feels like push out the wave and simultaneously farm out those other camps. So going to become a better time for him.
That was a nice glyph by no one. He tried to use it just before the Tidebringer came out, but Iceberg was well aware.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, like, turning on the auto cast is not necessarily the greatest. Just keeping it on the regular so you can animation cancel it more easily.
Oh yeah, I would never put Tidebringer on auto cast. I don't think for Kunkka.
Dire's middle tower is under
That was
attack.
such a huge change.
Yeah, you were talking about Liquid Fire before. I can let that one go, but poor Tidebringer. That's
Yeah, that one's not a thing that happens. Gyrocopter's getting somewhat low. There's a TP rotation. Aloha Dance getting up in the face of no one there as he stole a hell of a lot of damage from Iceberg. And so we get close here, 4 minutes. God, he was able to deny that even. Jesus. That's a hard thing to deal with. Oh, good lift. But that is still block it out. So he was able to get the D ward taken out. So that is stackable yet again. Always one Fi is going to need to go in and body block it if he wants to deal with it. Steps forward, make sure the courier doesn't get sniped there. Resolution. Pump faking the stomp. Connects. Extra damage, but Soul Rip really strong early on.
I was in my own little world, and then I realized you were already looking at top lane when I said it. That was
It's a classic.
I'm on a mad one today.
That's what happens when you get into the best of 5. All the brains turn to mush.
Look at Iceberg here. He's just taking 2 camps at once with the cleaves. Like, he doesn't have a choice anymore. And he hits a level 5, so he'll be able to jungle a lot quicker now, at least.
He managed to stack neither of them. That's unfortunate. Well, 1,000 gold lead right now for Virtus.pro. Nothing to write home about too much. Aloha Dance is going to step over now and soak a little bit of XP, it looks like. Needs to be careful, obviously, about the catapult wave coming through. Bottom, we haven't really talked about it that much. Gyrocopter a little bit behind, but just about even with DP. So general breaking even here is really nice.
Lich is coming in, though, and he has one more Spirit Siphon.
Okay, Spirit Siphon turns, wants to live, has stick charges now as well as another Crypt Swarm. Coolman in some trouble here. He's just going to barely get away from that one. Had General thrown that earlier, I feel like that's a kill. Pop stick.
That was... I don't know if you noticed what happened there. That was so sick from General. I'll let him get out here, but he popped the glyph when Kuman was using flat cannon rocket barrage on the creep wave, so that it wouldn't die, so that he would take less damage. That was really cute, actually.
And right now, he's just sort of hovering around this area, soaking up whatever XP he can.
He wants him.
Is he really going to be going for that play?
He has Spirit Siphon. I don't think he could do it, but he could give it a go.
It's not. I mean, it's a decent amount of damage. I thought he was just here to try and soak XP because he didn't want to TP home, but if he's going for that play, that's the next level play. I guess 220. Yeah, he doesn't have, he has to go with Spirit Siphon and then also Crypt Swarm, which seems unlikely to work. Nyx is coming back down here again. Yeah, looks like he's just soaking up XP. No one gets the kill on the Iceberg. I was looking bottom at stuff that didn't matter.
He's so relentless on the Razor here. Like, he understands that the Kunka's farming jungle. He's just invading him everywhere. Like, they both have a ward on this same point on the high ground, just to see who's making the rotations in and who's farming where. And this Undying might be in a little bit of trouble now.
Yeah, life is hard right now for Always Wanna Fly, as he does not really have an answer. And bottom lane, General Spirit Siphon not gonna live through it. Aloha Dance also in some trouble now. Mana burn, not enough. Double kill for Solo. Man,
yeah. Unfortunately, Solo gets the kills, which is a little bit sad. But again, I mean, still really good for them.
Yeah. Undying's gonna come down here. Decay Soul Rip? No, can't get it. Yeah, he realizes that there's a ward up there and they get the D ward taken out. That would have been such a big play. He was holding on to the stick charges for General to try and get that turnaround, but didn't end up working out. Right now, all three lanes being won by VP. Not by a huge margin, but enough that it matters.
I mean, this mid lane's a massive difference. Like, it's not the gold, though. Look at the XP difference. Like, the Razor's almost 3 levels ahead of the Kunkka.
Jesus. Oh, V-Tune. That's not good. Oh, Spike Carapace? He doesn't use it? Okay, that's fine.
I love when Nixus is so confident in hitting their stun, they don't even use their Carapace.
There you go.
What a power play.
Yeah. Absolute legend. All right, they're going to glyph here. General can maybe try and go for some pressure. They actually drop, or the Tombstone's still down from earlier on. So they're going to pop Exorcism for this and try and get the tower taken, although the glyph is already there. General going to sit around with this Exorcism working. Solo making his way down the bottom lane. There is a TP coming in right now from the Centaur. Resolution spots out Always Wanna Fly. Well, still a lot of damage onto this tower.
Oh, so not the Race of the Lich, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. Chase, Always Wanna Fly, still living.
He has Stampede if he wants to pop it.
Yeah. They're going to use it for the kill there on Always Wanna Fly. Soul Rip again. Monk back in. Why not? Zayat takes the kill in the end.
And look at no one again. He's just going for it every single time. He's just running at somebody.
Jeez.
PL just has to TP back to base. That means he's not going to be able to farm for the next 30 seconds or so.
Spike Carapace? No, I can't do anything really. Yeah, Iceberg needs to make a move at some point. This is a really tough one for him. He's so freaking underleveled.
I just love that no one understands he's the strongest hero on the map by an absolute margin. So he's not afraid to just run into different bits of the jungle that they don't even have vision in. Because he can do whatever he wants.
Mid lane.
Level 3 Soul Rip.
Only still has that 1 point in Tombstone. Torrent not going to connect on anybody. Always Wanna Fly. Gonna die. Iceberg has 4 points up now into Tidebringer, so that's enough to clear through this wave pretty quickly. But a DD no one runs into General. Maybe he's gone a bit too far finally. Spike Carapace to turn it back around. They're living. Torrent trying to connect onto everybody. The boat follow up afterwards. Aloha Dance hits the Impale onto 2. It's pretty freaking big, but isn't enough damage. It's not looking like it. It was about as perfect as it could have been, but it wasn't enough. 13 stick charges on General. Spirit Siphon round 2. Tries to run, tries to get out of there. Iceberg, another round of Torrent, connects there again onto this gyrocopter. The tower's getting in on the action. They drop mangoes to try and get the extra mango regen. What the hell? Dude, whose mango tree was that?
You can't get the mango that's left as well. I hate this. That the mangoes get put in really weird positions on cliffs. That was sick, actually.
I don't know whose mango tree that was.
Yeah,
They both have
when I said no one could run into areas by himself, you can't do it when there's 4 heroes there.
Yeah.
That's it's a little bit too much. Also, this level 4 Spirit Siphon on general, when he uses it on Centaur, he gains so much HP back.
Yeah.
Because like Centaur's just such a tanky hero. He's like impossible to kill off on general when that Spirit Siphon's going onto the Cent.
So let me check real quickly. I think that was Radiance, because I need to double check that my spectator hotkeys are good. Yeah, they are. So yeah, that was a Radiant mango tree. So was it Lich dropping the mango tree to try and pick it up so he could like chain frost or something? I don't know what was going on there. That was chaotic as hell.
I have no idea.
That's a super big brain play, but it ended up being awful.
So what's Kuman going for? So he went last time on Gyro. What did he go for? I think it was he went something
Ags.
before BKB. It was Ags BKB. So this time he's going for the Maelstrom first.
Okay.
He's playing against the Pillars, so probably going to want that Mjolnir eventually anyway.
It seems likely. And I mean, still despite that like overextension, they're having a really good game here on the side of VP. So he can go for that, like, I guess I'd maybe call it a little bit greedier build. Like Ags kind of give you some extra survivability. Maelstrom doesn't really in that regard.
I think more because he wants BKB as his second item no matter what, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he has to choose between which item he wants to help him scale up more. Like, does he want the Ags or does he want the Maelstrom?
Okay.
Maelstrom's a little bit cheaper, and you're also going to want the Mjolnir against the PL at some point anyway, so
Yeah.
might as well just pick up the Maelstrom first instead.
Solo drops down a ward. They realize, okay, there is a ward up here. He drops an observer ward in the spot where it's going to be seen. Zayat on the other side, he's vendetted. Got to be careful about who you go on here. Yeah, and they ping it out. They know that the Rubik is right in the area, and Zayat should also know that they're up there since they literally just dewarded them. So everybody backs out. And, well, V2 quietly having a pretty decent game. Besides being forced back a couple of times by the Razor, he's seemed to be in pretty good position by and large. Iceberg going for a straight BKB afterwards.
Radiant's bottom tower
I was going to
is
say,
under
considering this how the start of this game went, FlyToMoon have done a really good job of just like stemming the bleeding and just making sure they can get farm on their core still as well, because the net worth graph has plateaued across the last 8 minutes or so. Actually, to be fair, they're doing a really good job. As long as PL can just carry on being a nuisance and just pushing out waves, getting his farm, at some point in this game he's going to be a real hard threat to deal with.
Okay. He is a monster eventually. Absolutely.
Like, even against the Gyro, I think the PL has to be the hero in the late game that you look at and think, yeah, this guy's like, he's the top dog.
Right. Well, and I guess though that the answer to that in a way is like Razor being able to get a link on him. If Razor can make that happen, then you at the very least are going to be able to find the real PL and you stay on target too for no one, right? You get that automatic auto attack onto him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a nice answer.
Radiant's middle tower
You also
is
need the
under
Crimson
attack.
Guard on the center at some point this game eventually.
Right.
I think he's just got Blink coming up in the courier now. Yeah, he has. And like, I imagine he might go for the Hood before he goes back for the Crimson again, but we'll have to see. Like, the Crimson just reduces the PL's effectiveness in fights by so much.
Well, 15-minute mark. Movement in to try and secure these bounties. And Gyro realizes, I don't want to be here anymore. He backs out. Iceberg picking up an Imp Claw. Ooh, that is an item and a half for Kunkka. Oh, look at it. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, God.
Mid lane,
It feels so good.
less beautiful, less feeling good, more feeling real bad as the tower is going to go down. Now
shit,
that
big
Torrent,
shit.
boat afterwards, big connection. Do they have enough damage? Chain Frost
Solid.
also doing a ton of work, though. Zombies are going to start to stack up. They got to be careful. That Chain Frost completely eviscerated them, and, well, Gyrocopter takes down the Tombstone. Okay, that's just 4 dead. Zayat, what a
Insane.
god.
He sold the ghost ship and just used it back again.
Oh, man.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That is one of the best steals in the game. Straight
It
up.
feels so good at levels, like when you're level 1 ult as well, because ghost ship has a relatively low cooldown. So you know you're going to be able to utilize it again in like a
Dire's
second
middle
fight before you
tower
steal
is under
something
attack.
else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Such a low cooldown, and like all of the utility value that you get out of it, right? I'm pretty sure. Is it affected the debuff? I guess it's not a debuff; it's just a buff. But the rum buff,
Yeah.
does it last longer? Do you think?
Ooh, good question.
I'm not sure. I have no
I
idea.
assume not, because it's a debuff amplification. So yeah, I assume it's because it's just a buff that it doesn't work the same way. Because if you solar crest somebody on Rubik, it doesn't last longer, right?
Yeah. So there is, as we see Resolution get taken down here by a quick and easy rotation in. That's what Nyx Assassin does for you. There is this weird duality that exists with Kunkka, where like everybody kind of has their own individual way that they're used to setting up for like X and Torrent. Like for a lot of people, it's just like you do X Torrent then Boat. For some, they do X Boat then Torrent. That time around, because he ended up waiting until the last time, I think that he cast Torrent first and then Boat. But then there's like nothing else that you can do, right? Like you can't do anything to stop the steal coming in from Rubik. So he's gonna need to either change up his style or maybe he just needs to hit it faster. I don't know, but it's one of those that can be a little bit tough. And the run in, DP in some trouble, is just going to die. He popped the ulti on Undyne, and then he immediately gets eviscerated. BKB for the TP out on Iceberg. Ugh, feels bad.
10-second BKB to retreat in a fight as Iceberg there is... That feels awful, actually. But the thing is, you have to remember, in the meantime, Vtune's just farming away in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Like, he's caught up with no one in terms of farm now, and he's actually doing really well. Like, he has Yasha Diffusal. I think with, like, one more item, he should be able to join fights. The problem is he going to get the time to farm another item?
Right.
Because it feels like VP are really getting into the swing of things now.
Well, and not only that, but you've also got like a lot of yes, he's going to be able to fight, but can they actually find the kills? Like Coolman is going to have his BKB in a second, and yes, you've got like Diffusal Blade, which is great, but if BKBs are up, you're not going to be doing enough damage to that Gyrocopter by virtue of your other heroes or by virtue of him. So BKBs are kind of the great end game point for this VP lineup, and God, I don't know. Right now, it feels like they need to make a ton of use of this Nyx Assassin. Aloha Dance needs to be setting up kills constantly. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart.
It has to be said, though, that no one's BKB is going to come out a little bit quicker than Kuma's. So it'll be interesting to see whether they want to wait for the second BKB on the Gyrocopter, or whether they're happy and comfortable in just fighting with the one Razor BKB.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be the interesting thing to watch for. Kunkka already has his, obviously. That Imp Claw is such a nice big damage increase for him. As the Sentry War is going to get dropped down, they don't quite manage to find it. Good stomp on a Nyx Assassin there. Has the Soul Rip, but nothing else gets done up. And X TP back away.
Just Gyro back.
Well, okay. And now they pull him in and get the kill. That was a huge pickup for him. They do lose the Undying, but you take that kill every day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, you lose your 2 supports, but you get the Gyro. That's a big one.
And they also managed to take this outpost. If they can hold this bottom one, it seems unlikely, but if they could manage to, that'd be a big swing for them here at this 20-minute mark. Yeah, Rezo's just going to run it and take it.
And the thing is as well, Gyro's the biggest kill you could have got there, because we talked about how maybe VP want to wait for the second BKB before they fight. You're just buying yourself more time for the PL to farm if you kill that Gyro.
And you take a look now, going for that Scotty next. Oh, they're not going to get there in time to come and contest for this. So it looks like the outposts are going to be given up here. It's one of those moments where you wish that Kunkka was around just to throw a Torrent out there, but no such luck. Now group up together. There's no Gyrocopter here. This is a big fight for them. Hasterun picked up, finds Solo. No one. Who's he going to link up? Takes General. Pops Exorcism, turns to fight. Chain Frost going to bounce around a couple of times. Feared for the moment. They need that boat buff. It's coming in a little bit late, but it might be good enough there. Not
Got
quite.
The X on the Lich.
That's not enough. Zayat would be another nice pickup for them as they catch him up on the high ground here, and he is going to drop.
You can't really go into the Roche bit either here. They're probably just going to have to try and settle for whatever they can in terms of farm or... Oh, look at Aloha Dance, though. He's hunting with the Carapace on the Razor.
Yeah, chasing, looking. Oh, you can get the Spike Carapace off, though. Okay, Impale, connection. Ghost's wearing off right as it's happening. The jump in with the call down is going to be there. VTune chasing, finding no one. Slowdown comes afterwards for Coolman. Trying to TP out. Does he have anything to break it? No. They can't quite catch that gyrocopter. So the gold lead for Virtus.pro is quickly dwindling. And as you were talking about, it's this PL that's starting to come online. And, of course, just good map movements outside of that.
They also keep going on the Nyx every fight, which is like great if like everybody can get there in time and they can burst him before he gets Carapace off. But otherwise, he's just buying time for the rest of his team.
Right. Like
this DP's just got pop exorcism off already. Like she's getting all her damage coming through. I mean, Iceberg's actually a hero now. And you talked about the Imp Claw before. With the Imp Claw being picked up, it allows you to go for this more defensive build because you have the neutral item that enables your damage a little bit more. And without the Gyro BKB, which is just coming on the courier now, it's really difficult for VP to do anything in these big engagements. Like they need stuff like either a big steal from Zayats or something, but I don't know, there's about to be a pipe coming out on the general DP soon. Like he's just picked up his hood. Yeah. And I think that's going to be such a massive timing for them because they don't do a huge amount of damage on VP unless no one gets to like a really long duration link off.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I wanted to mention before as well is that VTune, he's going for the Skadi next, which you might be thinking, okay, well maybe like he wants a Bissell or something instead, might be a good pickup. Hang on, Stampede bot.
Trying to catch him. General moves into position. VTune still living for the moment. Can they get there to help him in time? They have a soul rip in just a moment. He gets the doppelganger up to the high ground, able to walk away. BKB's worn out now. So they do take down that tombstone. Still retreating away, and 5 heroes rotating. Look at FlyToMoon. They're spread out all across the map right now. VTune just have to head out.
No one just popped his BKB as well, which is really sad. And all of a sudden, like the net worth's pretty much back down to 0 again. Like VP, they're desperately trying to find these openings, but Kuman's just been a little bit behind the timing they originally wanted, which has kind of like thrown everything off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get back to the Skadi point on the PL. It's really good against ranged heroes because it slows them, but I think it's 45% Skadi, which is really nice. So when you're playing up against this Gyrocopter and Razor, which are both, you know, these ranged cores, the effectiveness from the Skadi that you get is so much more.
They caught him. No BKB up right now on the Razor, and even though the Chain Frost is bouncing, they are going to kill off that Razor. So a nice and easy pullback as it was still on cooldown from the fight earlier. And they're thinking about going into Roche. Part of the reason they could do this, exorcism on General, and if you do see Virtus.pro show up, Kunkka newly minted Torrent Storm with that Aghanim Scepter.
They would be crazy to fight this without no one.
They're crazy. They're crazy.
There's no way.
They're absolutely insane. Oh, they missed the Impale there. It was stolen by Rubik. That would have been something that could have made that work for them. And now Iceberg's running and he's like, all right, you guys didn't hit your Impale. I'm coming for you. They jump. BKB reaction. Nice timing there. Looking for the follow-up. He did steal boat. Okay. Boat stolen. Thrown back the other direction, but Rubik is still going to die. And BKB forced out from Coolman.
They definitely got Zayats there.
Yeah.
They used quite a lot. He used the Torrent Storm as well on the Kunkka, but they got him.
Oh, DD for Iceberg. Or I guess they give it to PL. Yeah, VTune's better. He has Scotty now if he wants it.
So you're Iceberg here, right? What do you build next as your next item on Kunkka after this axe?
Maybe Scotty? Or not Scotty, sorry. Shiva's. Maybe Shiva's? I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah. Or AC. I think either one of those is pretty cool.
Stampede, mid. No detection. Oh like my god.
Yeah, they're falling apart a little bit. Yeah, I think that, like, at this point, you've got Pipe from DP already. You either get something to, like, slow down attacks, which is obviously amazing against, you know, Gyro and Razor, or you just make them less effective with AC.
Oh, they caught the solo lich.
Hello. You are a dead person. Super cool. Or, you know, whatever. Just go Rapier. Get what you want. I don't care. He's got an Imp Claw, man.
To be fair, I think this Gyro might consider having to go Rapier at some point relatively soon.
Yeah.
Depending on how the game goes. He feels like a complete non-factor at the moment in this game.
Resolution. They get the Spike Carapace punch onto him. Impale comes afterwards. Torrent lands beautifully. He is a very, very tanky boy, but eventually he too will fall as they get the kill. 3,000 gold lead now for FlyToMoon. The last couple of minutes have been absolute disaster for VP, who, you know, after taking a 2-0 early lead at the start of the series, are looking to tie this one up, going to a final game 5 if they can close this out.
They look really good. I mean, I think the couple of deaths that no one got towards the start of this game like really hurt his massive lead that he had early on. And they kind of, it felt like mentally they didn't really recover from that in a way. Like it felt like they were so scared to play in the same way after that.
Yeah.
Around this Razor that they were before.
Tier 3 tower going down. Spirits still doing their work. General, a little bit of duration left on this exorcism as they keep sending them in one after the other. Lift up there. Tombstone up on the high ground. Got to be careful. A lot of flat cannon going out there as well. They want to take down that tier 3, but it's not worth it if they just end up... Oh, Stampede. Okay. The heal coming back in. Onto the Spirit Snipe. Follow up with the exorcism. They get the boat stolen yet again. But it looks like now, as they're coming back in, Iceberg's just going to have to TP out Doppelganger V2. He got that missile on him, though. He eventually gets caught. He's going to get killed. So they die twice at the Aegis, and Kunkka just decides he doesn't want to be there. A Torrent Storm right there probably stops that whole initiation.
I think it was on cooldown at the start of the fight. I'm not 100% sure, but he used the rest of his BKB duration just to get out, like in case he got caught as well, which, you know, in hindsight, maybe not the best thing, but at the time, he's like, guys, I think we've lost this fight. Let's just get out, you know, whoever we can. And the fact that only the PL and the Undying died, considering how the fight went, isn't too bad. Like, it could have been a lot worse.
Well, Iceberg has 4,000 gold now. So trying to figure out what he wants to go for. Also, once you get that plus 100 Torrent AoE, that one's pretty hype as well. So we'll see how it goes.
I love the Torrent AoE with the axe. So funny.
I mean, even just being able to throw out specifically targeted ones is pretty nice. Like, if the other talents weren't so good, really specifically that 20 strength, I think you probably go Torrent AoE like every time. But
yeah, I think if you're building the axe, so you go for the Torrent talents, but if you're not,
definitely.
you tend to go for the strength, don't you?
Yeah.
He could have, yeah, he's got AC queued up. I think that's the right choice. They just need a little bit more of a push in the right direction as a team. They need to keep this PL alive a little bit longer.
I mean, and it synergizes really well with the majority of their damage, like Exorcism, obviously, and PL just running in there and punching people. It's all good stuff.
I'd love to know, when teams ping like this, so like no one's saying Kunkka and Death Prophet are missing, I'd love to know what they're talking about when they ping. So like, in his head, is he saying stuff like, these are the heroes that we need to focus because they're doing the most work, or like, or he's saying, can we just ignore those heroes because they don't, we can't really kill them anyway?
He's probably saying like, I killed that guy and I got that guy earlier. That's what's going on.
These guys are so bad.
Yeah.
Just pings 2 heroes.
Jesus, it's great. I mean, so again, the PO goes down. Scotty is, I think to me, still feeling like I like the item a lot. Going for the Manta next and then just afterwards into the Satanic. Is there an item that you get to for Virtus.pro where you start to feel comfortable going into the later game against this lineup? Like, PL super stacked up still feels like it's really hard for them to deal with.
I think the axe on the gyro is a big moment. I think the butterfly as well on the gyro, if you can get that, because PL, these, if you're cutting out a third of the damage from all the illusions and whatnot, it's going to be a big amount. And he got Crimson coming out on Centaur, coming out in the career.
Okay.
Yeah, he does. Okay. I think that's a big pickup for them as well, just to shut down the Centaur a bit more. But the PL's like, the Scotty's really nice, but it feels like he's not doing enough damage still, right?
Yeah.
Like, he needs an item that allows him to just go crazy in these fights. And like, Manta's nice and Satanic's nice, but I feel like he needs something of his own as well, like a butterfly, just to increase his damage output.
What's happening? What the hell's happening? Okay. I don't know what's going on, but they're ready to go again. Here we go. B-Tune's saying something. I'm sure it's only nice words. They immediately scan Aloha Dance. And try and get him with the dust.
He has a haste rune as well.
Yeah. They're not going to be able to get him.
Dire's
Top guy.
middle tower is under attack.
I mean, that was a little bit dubious there, but we'll let it slide as the telescope comes out right there for the Razor.
I assume that's a Rubik item. I mean, he has the Aether Lens and the... I don't know what... he might get the... I assume he gets the cast range at 15, but against the PL, the Fadebot hero attack's not awful.
Now, there is an interesting little dynamic here also to keep in mind is like that long fight happens, some crazy things go on. You might sort of forget what's happening for a second in the game. Rubik still has boat. That's something else to keep in mind, right? Like if there's a chance that they could have, like, I mean, not like forgotten, but it just slips the mind for some reason, and they're like, okay, we can fight again. But they need to burst this Rubik at the start of the fight.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah, they have been trying to do that. It feels like most fights so far, though, right? Where they realize that the Rubik's, damage output in fights and his usefulness is really high in comparison to how squishy he is.
Spike
Catch the Razor
Carapace,
mid.
jump him up at the beginning. The boat is coming out there. Double boat. Lands second time onto that PL. They don't know about the DD rune coming in from VTune, and they got him in their sights. They're going to blow him up. They're going to take him down, and they're going to pressure to take this tier 2 tower, and it drops so fast.
Radiant's
This
middle tower
PL is
has fallen.
owning.
Yeah.
Like he's doing so much damage.
Oh, Iceberg, though, unfortunate situation is it does not quite have his AC. It's coming out to him right now. VTune. Still fine, Dandy, standing up front and center, does not want to get caught out right now, does have enough for the Manta, but is hanging on to buyback for the moment. There's a long time to see that one come in, and PL just gets blown the hell up. They destroy a Aloha Dance afterwards. BKB Iceberg decides to TP out. Is it going to be a time? It looks like he will be able to. General also able to escape through the Torrent Storm that time first. So they lose the PL yet again. And Resolution is going to clean up Always Want to Fight. It felt like he had time to doppelganger there. Like, we saw it. It's the longest hoof stomp ever.
Yeah, 2 buybacks from VP though. So like,
Yeah.
the problem is with these buybacks, it's not even like they can gain anything from this though in terms of map control. Or if they get Iceberg at the healer, he has no BKB, no TP.
Oh, no.
Oh dear.
Stunned, boat, Torrent, trying to live. Connects him up on the high ground, but Iceberg is going to go down. Yet again.
That's an absolute disaster, actually, because up until then, that fight and the whole engagement's really good. He got greedy and wanted to take the outpush
Yeah.
to stop them from gaining any XP. Or at least getting XP for themselves, sorry, I mean.
Dire's structures
But,
are fortified.
Yeah, not working out, and
Rubik also managed to steal Torrent Storm. So
oh dear.
they're probably going to have that for the next fight.
Dire's middle tower
Oh,
is
it's
under
so good as well, because the debuff amplification just keeps him stunned for so long.
Right. I don't think that you get the talents, though, so you don't get the extra damage or the extra AoE at the very
No,
least.
no.
But it's still good.
It's the same thing as the ghost ship, like steal, right? Where it's something you can just utilize really well at the start of a fight before you steal something else.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really nice. Smoke up right
If you-
now.
I was gonna say, if you're a Rubik player, oh, hang on.
Yeah, they broke it.
Aloha Dance broke the smoke. If you're a Rubik player and you're keeping a spell for the whole fight that you had before, you're probably doing it wrong. Like,
Yeah.
you want to be utilizing 2 spell steals in one fight, effectively, before you get Ags.
Dire's middle tower
Yeah.
has fallen.
And right now, you can tell that, FlyToMoon, they're not comfortable moving in right now to take this fight. They do have that AC down on the Kunkka, like we talked about. Anything else that are really like big item wise? I guess VTune does have a Manta now, so that solves some of those issues of like sort of survivability, but it's still a little bit scary. He also got level 20, so smoke up, not under any vision.
This Mindbreaker on PL is insane. I don't know, man. This item's absolutely crazy.
Resolution,
Like,
they have vision. Aloha
oh,
Dance.
Carapace afterwards.
That's not great. He wanted to jump up on him. Soul Rip. Aloha Dance going to die. BKB used from Coolman. Buy back immediately. They need to get the hell out of here. They need to run. This is no time to stick around. Stomp. No, they don't. That's the Dire one. Force staff forward. Does he get any extra range? Good jump in. Hoof stomp. The turnaround. Does he have BKB? He gets it off in time. Torrent can come out in just a moment, connects onto a couple of them. That is a Radiant Torrent Storm now, and he manages to steal boat too. He's used literally everything that Kunkka did, although Kunkka does manage to get out. And now for the... No, he doesn't. He gets pulled back in there afterwards. No one in some trouble as VTune has come online, but is it going to be enough? Doppelganger trying to live, but ends up getting brought down by no one while he was disabled. General trying to clean up. Oh, good spike Carapace, and then the little punch there onto Resolution, trying to take down that Centaur. But the Exorcism wears off right at the end there. He pulls back in. He's going to get the regen, but it's not going to be enough. Aloha Dance wants to get a stun to try and interrupt them. Impale onto several. The turnaround, no, it's a secondary stun. They don't quite have enough. Eul Scepter lift up. Stick charges afterwards. They claim their prize.
I've heard Zayats is pretty good at Dota 2. This guy is insane. Like, the Torrent Storm into the ship steal enables no one to stand his ground for so much longer and just output so much damage. Because he had a full duration link from Iceberg in the whole of that fight, and he just sat there right clicking the PL the whole time. God.
You know, I really feel like you need almost like PL needs a Lincolns or something to deal with this static link. Like if he gets static link, the fight actually is over. I don't think that he can deal with it. They need to create like chaos and like either start the fight with like jumping on raises. They keep on jumping onto the Centaur, and I understand the idea of like wanting to pop spike Carapace and then turn onto the Centaur, but then having that fight start like that and then Nyx wasn't immediately able to get back into the fight afterwards. It was about as good as that could have gone for VP, it feels like.
Yeah, I think like you said, that was as good as it got, but Jiraiya's about to finish Butterfly, and I think his damage output at that point when he gets the Butterfly is going to be really nice. Because they have no real way of dealing with evasion, like on the PL at all. If they get the Roche though, this is massive for them because Kuma's used his buyback already. And no one still lacking hits for the next 3 minutes or so.
They see the courier. They have vision.
Courier
They know that this is happening. Moving in, trying to interrupt. Resolution jumps in, gets the stomp. That's big. The opening that they might need, but doesn't have enough. Aegis is going to be picked up there by... Well, maybe a follow-up here? No, he's just dead. Yeah, they're just going to leave him to it. I thought that maybe there was a chance that they get out with other ones, but they're getting there and try and take the fight.
So just manages to glimmer and TP away there. That was quite impressive.
Yeah.
In the minute, like the midst of everything. I mean, Kuman thought about going in there, but it's again like the last Roche fight. With no one dead, it's so difficult for them to just walk into the pit. Like, you can't take a disadvantageous numbers fight into the Roche pit.
Ooh. Greater Fairy Fire for Death Prophet. She send that
has
back?
Arcane Ring. So,
why did she... What? Okay, well, I mean, it was there. Did it drop? Did she just not pick it up? Whatever. Exorcism is out. That's what she has for now. She picks up the cheese instead. And they're going to try and take down this Rax. What did they steal? Silence. Okay.
Radiant's top barracks.
It's pretty big, though, because of the debuff, the like, duration.
Yeah. Well, another tier 3 tower about to fall.
Silence.
They pop the glyph.
That silence lasts for so long.
It is pretty insane. All right, buyback from Centaur. They lose the tier 3. It looks like they want to fight. Eul Scepter lift up. Just going to walk away. Force Staff trying to bait out a BKB and all hold hands and walk away together.
It's interesting to see that because I feel like a lot of teams would have just kind of like gone for that, right? Where they tried to chase them for more. But I mean, VP understand that potential for the turnaround is still there even without Exorcism.
Yeah.
So they're super careful.
I think she accidentally sent the Fairy Fire back to base and meant to keep a hold of it. General's got the Greater Fairy Fire in there now, along with the cheese. General's actually done so much damage on this offlane DP. It's looked really good.
I feel like he's been the big playmaker again this game.
Yeah.
He's performed really well. And his talents are all insanely good. Like, he goes for this pipe, he gets the magic resistance as well at 10. All of a sudden, he has this armor item as well and the solar crest. So he's really tanky and hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Now you give him the cheese and the Greater Fairy Fire, and you are not getting through that guy quickly.
And just full potential to lay out damage with the Exorcism. And
like, he could easily use all 3 charges of the Great Fairy Fire in one fight, just because of how sustainable he is.
yeah, it'd be pretty cool. so 7,000 gold lead now for FlyToMoon, who at one point were down a pretty significant amount in the early goings, but now it's feeling quite good for them. Big question is, what is this next round of items? MKB instead of Butterfly.
The gyro is suddenly like, oh, this is a problem. Now my Butterfly's like nowhere near as good as it could have been. I mean, the Butterfly, not purchasing Butterfly sad, but again, like this MKB increases his damage output, which is really nice. Especially against the gyro Butterfly. It's very much needed, I think.
I mean, do you think that this is a little bit greedy though? Like trying to go for this item right now? He's been one of the ones to die over and over again. I guess he has Aegis right now, so it's kind of okay.
Yeah, I think if he didn't have Aegis, he might play a little bit more defensive with his item build. But look at the damage output on the tower.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Bonkers.
So that tier 3 tower is starting to fall. They've already taken the one mid.
What silence.
I mean, it doesn't do damage though.
I know, but even so.
All right, Zayat's over in the trees. Could send in some illusions if he wanted to hit it. He's just going to keep those ones out there for right now and let the general do a lot of the work. Dual Scepter lift up, secure a long duration link. They get the Force Staff jump away. Stomp, they pulled him back in. What? He's in some trouble now. The rest of his team being isolated out by no one, who pops the BKB, turns to fight. Stampede chasing. The Phantom Rush though. He ends up going down. He's going to be coming back in a good position. The Torrent Storm jumps around, goes back direction. He's going to get a good impale afterwards on and no one. Glimmer keeping him alive, but not long enough. Buyback coming in. Zayat going to go down after he still Torrent Storm again. A good Torrent hitting onto both of them. Solo's going to be gobbled up. And GG well played is called as FlyToMoon going to tie it up and push it to a 5-game series. I didn't expect this.
That was sick, actually. The mistake by the PL was because he got forced away just as he tried to use his doppelganger.
Oh.
So where he was trying to doppelganger away, he accidentally used it backwards instead.
Oh, got it.
But yeah, that was unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, really well played by FlyToMoon. They kind of, Iceberg, especially in this mid lane, had a really rough time. And I like what no one did, where he kept running at him at the start of the game. But then Iceberg kind of just settled into his pattern, where they were really scared to take fights on VP without the Kuman BKB. And so they really struggled to try and push this tempo that they needed to. And then eventually VTune, like, he went completely untouched for 10, 15 minutes of the game, I'd say, like towards the mid game. And he just farmed up. And, you know, they don't have a good PL answer. So, you know, we talked about when it gets to this late game, the PL's the big bad boss. And they do not really have a way of dealing with him in these 5-on-5s. And general on DP as well. I think him and Aloha Dance were probably my two big standouts for that game.
Yeah. I think that they had a really, really solid performance. Like you said, the ability of that next assassin to like get initiated on consistently and then still manage to get those spells off. Or, you know, in that last other fight that we saw, like buy back and then get back into there afterwards. It was good stuff. So impressive showing. I think FlyToMoon have really hit their stride in the past couple of days. Like, again, the lead up to this, they were struggling a lot against many of the other teams. They just got 2-0'd by Hellraisers the day before they played at this same tournament. And then the next day they turn it back around. They first beat Windstrike in a 2-0. Then they beat Hellraisers in a 2-0. And now they went down 0-2 against Virtus.pro. And now they've been able to pull 2 games back to back. So it's really getting down to the end of the wire here. So we'll see how it ends up going. Stick around, everybody. Game 5 right after this.